right, good morning. My name is Josh Crow. I'm going to do a quick mic and audio test for you guys today. Welcome to the Social Security webinar. Let me just get these the mics and the equipment tested out, and I'm going to come right back to you. So looking forward to giving you guys a slamming presentation. Hang with me for just a moment, and I'll be right back. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So as I was saying a moment ago, my name's Josh Crow, and I am the owner and founder of SunPath Financial, a retirement and wealth management company here in beautiful Newport Beach, California, right off the 73 and Irvine Avenue, although we will be moving into a new office just down the street as of the 1st this month. So welcome to you all. Normally when we open the webinars, I give you guys a bit of a background about myself and how I got started in the industry and who SunPath is today. So again, 15 years ago is when I got into the mix of things. My grandfather actually started a tax company 50 years ago, so 5-0 compared to my 1-5, I got a long way to go. But anyhow, he pulled myself and family into the business because he needed help with administrative work and filing. I was probably 12 or 13 at the time, and several years later, I was able to get my license, get up and rolling. I was doing individual and corporate tax returns for about 10 years, and that's really how it all got started for me. I found myself into a different area of the tax return called IRAs, and many of you are familiar with what an IRA is. It's a way to create a retirement savings that you'll use to supplement your pension and Social Security income streams when you finally retire. And so for me, it was much more interesting to help folks accumulate their assets as it was to reduce their liabilities, which effectively is what we're attempting to do when you come in at tax time. That led off to me working for one of the largest really financial planning institutions, but they were known for a lot of other things too. That was down here in Irvine, California. Had great mentors there, met a ton of awesome folks. As a matter of fact, met one of my partners in the business today. His name is Tim Hill. He's not here with me for this webinar, but in future iterations of the webinars, he sure will be. And, had a natural, kind of an inkling for retirement planning, more so than financial planning, which could encompass really all ages. But folks that were on the verge or in retirement and helping them understand their progress today and how to make what they have work for the next 30 or so years, all the way to age 100 is what we plan for. Now, obviously, some of you might wonder, why is it that he's talking on retirement planning? We came in here for Social Security. Because Social Security is one component of a retirement plan. And it's important that you get an education on Social Security along with the various of other things. So anyhow, that working at that financial institution, one thing I did realize, kind of getting back to it, is they were a full service firm, so they had multiple lines of business. They did health insurance, life insurance is what they were really well known for. Financial planning, P&C. They had a real estate leg at one time, and I thought it would be important for the public to understand that all we do as a company, or all I do as somebody that's in the retirement space, is just build and manage retirement plans. And so I decided to leave that large firm and start SunPath Financial. We're going on 5.5 years in business now. We just teamed up with Charles Schwab as our custodian. We've had a lot of cool accolades along the way. My first year in 2016, I wrote a retirement book. So if you guys want a copy, feel free to reach out. Was published in Forbes for top 25 retirement articles, which we were proud of. Went on to receive #1 annuity producer for a company called Brokers Alliance out in Scottsdale, and that was nationwide. And so we've had a lot of cool things happen over time, and we're proud to share them with you, that's for sure. Now I'm going to go ahead and start to get going with the presentation. One thing you guys will notice is that I'm going to switch screens here in a minute. So if you're on a device that does not have the capability to show you that presentation, you're going to want to make your way there. One last and final touch before we jump into the Social Security topic. For myself, personal life, people want to know, do you have a life, Josh? Do you do something out of work? And as a matter of fact, I do. Most of my time is spent either traveling, so we just got back from Texas, and then just before that, Turks and Caicos, and then trying to get involved with the community, spending time hiking with my girlfriend and my dog Nala. Which some of the folks are so kind. I was on the phone with a client, she's a prospect but becoming a client tomorrow, a couple of days ago, and she remembered the name of my dog. I thought, what an amazing group of people that we're so fortunate to present to. So that's really my life in a nutshell. Getting back to the presentation now, I'm going to go ahead and switch the mode over so that you guys can see a presentation happening in the background. And then what we'll do is continue through with the slideshow. The slideshow is going to make and give a really good visual representation of the things I'm reviewing today. So let's go ahead and see if our clicker here is working. You should see Social Security Planning and Maximization webinar in the background now. And I should be real small, itty bitty down there in the right-hand side of the screen. So, one thing I like to kind of mention before we get rolling in today, I'm going to get past our accolades as I've already discussed those. We're seeing now retirement tax and wealth. We do bring tax into the equation, which many financial advisors or retirement firms do not. So that is a benefit for you guys if you ever decide to utilize our services. I'm going to get past this, and we're going to talk about how critical Social Security is for the majority of you. So if you didn't know, right now, 40% of those living in retirement, 60% of their income is derived from Social Security. 40% of people in retirement, 100% of their income is from Social Security. So 40%, almost half of all people currently retired are living on Social Security alone. They don't have pensions, they don't have real estate with passive income, they don't have retirement savings plans like 401ks and IRAs and Roths or what have you. They are living on Social Security alone, and they are considered at the poverty level. The other 60% of folks in retirement, 40%, ironically, of their income is derived from Social Security. So more than a third of everyone else is deriving their income, a third of their income more, 40%, from their Social Security benefits. Now, if that doesn't help make the picture clear as far as how important your Social Security benefit will be and making sure you're planning to maximize it, well, hopefully this next screen drives it home. So first of all, we have somebody with a monthly benefit as an example of $2,000 per month. Well, if we took that over 10 years, and there is some COLA adjustments in there, we're looking at a total of $256,865. That's how much you would have received from the Social Security Administration over a 10-year span if you were taking in $2,000 per month. That's quite a bit. If you didn't know, the average retiree, right around the age of 60 to 65, somewhere in there, their retirement savings on average is about $170,000. So just in 10 years of collecting your benefit, the administration has paid you more than what took you a lifetime to build. So it's important. Now moving on to 15 years, $400,000, 20 years, $550,000, so about $500,000, and then we're just about $750,000 at that 25-year mark. Now, moving right along, let's take a look at the webinar topics. What are we going to cover today? Well, I'm going to go through the basics and help you guys understand the system in itself and a few key points. Then we're going to move to spousal benefits, the work penalty, determining your benefits, taxation, and finally, I'm going to wrap it all up and get you guys on your way. So let's go ahead and start with the basics. Now, Social Security, in theory, is rather simple. You know you've been paying taxes, unless you're a federal or government employee of a type. For a very long time, you've been paying FICA taxes, right? And it's the Federal Insurance Contribution Act. And that's split between Social Security, 6.2%, and Medicare, 1.45%. So 7.65% of your annual income is given to those two, those two administrations. Social Security, 6.2%. Out it comes from your check, And where does it go? It used to go into a large trust fund, and that's the Old Age and Survivors Trust Fund. No longer. Now, for the most part, it is going right out of your check and into a retiree's bank account so that they can live, hopefully, a fulfilled retirement. Now, that is as simple as it is. And one day, when you get to retirement, that system will work the same for you. Somebody in the workforce will be giving a fraction of their annual income into your retirement. They'll be giving it toward your retirement because you did it at one time. Now, a couple things to keep in mind before you set off to file for your Social Security benefit is that you are only eligible when you reach your first full month of age 62, and you must file 3 months before your desired starting date. A lot of folks get this wrong, right? They're very dependent upon their Social Security benefit, but what do? They forget they need to file 3 months before. They retire. They expect that check to be rolling in, having retired and then filed. It doesn't happen though, right? It's 3 months later. And so you have to be ahead of that. The only time this is an issue is if when you're turning 62, that can make it a little difficult because typically, well, now I believe they've changed so you can file 3 months before you're 62. Just make sure you make the 3 months. Moving right along. So a couple things you need to know about how the Social Security formula works as far as how do we determine your benefits, how much will you be receiving? And there are two very important pieces to that equation. The first is your primary insurance amount. And your primary insurance amount is the monthly retirement benefit you receive. It's 100% of your benefit at your normal retirement age. That's the second piece. Primary insurance amount, normal retirement age. Primary insurance amount is how much, it's 100% of what the Social Security Administration will give you when you reach a certain age. And that normal retirement age is based upon the year you are born. If you take it earlier, you get less. If you take it at the age, you get exactly what they give you. And if you take it later, they'll bump up or increase your benefit a little bit more on that in just a moment. Now, looking at the left side of this column, we see people born between 1943 and 1954. Their normal retirement age is 66. What does that mean? Well, at the age of 66, you are now eligible to receive 100% of your Social Security benefit. It's not as much as they'll give you, but it is what they'll give you at 100%. 1955, things change, right? 66 and 2 months is now your normal retirement age. You have to wait a little longer. Why? That is because the Social Security Administration is always making adjustments because it's very hard for them to calculate how many people, what they call the natural birth rate and the natural death rate. They don't know how many people are going to be born in any generation, and they don't know how many people are going to die out of those generations. And so it's a very complex formula that mostly they get wrong. So they make these fine-tune adjustments, and this is one of them. Okay, so 1956, 66 and 4 months, and we can see a 2-month increment on the right there all the way up until 1960, and everybody as of now, born 1960 and later, their full retirement age is 67. I expect this to change pretty soon, but we will see. It's happened twice. This is the second table of change in the last 100 years, right? One happened earlier, and I think that was like in the 30s, mid-30s, maybe the 40s. Anyhow, moving right along. Let's take a look at an example of a primary insurance amount for at $2,000 for someone born between 43 and 54. They are age 66 and their primary insurance amount is $2,000. However, if they take it early at the age of 62, what happens? Well, they get a reduced amount. They're going to get 75% of their primary insurance amount, which is $1,500 a month. Now, if they take it at 66, their full retirement age, as we stated, it's 100%, so they will receive the $2,000. And if they take it at the age of 70, it's 132%. They are going to give you an 8% annual increase on your benefits, simple interest, not compounding, but it ends up being $2,640. So if you've got longevity in your genes, you might start thinking, Okay, so now let's take a look at the same table, but for example, for some other ages. We already looked at age, people born between 43 and 54. Let's take a look at an example for someone born in 1955. Well, they were incremented by 2 months. And so what happens there is if they take early, they only get 74.5%. And at their maximum age of 70, they only get 130.5%. So you can see their benefit maxes come down. Taking early at their full retirement age, still 100%, but on the low side and the high side, they've adjusted that too. That is a part of the Social Security way of basically, I guess it's they're admitting a screw up, right? Because they didn't get the math right. But really what they're trying to do is make sure that the system can continue in perpetuity so that people don't run out of money during retirement. Here are some other ages. You might find yours up there, or dates of birth. Down here at 1960 and later, I says earlier it's age 67, that's your full retirement age. We're down by 5% here. If you look at early age 62, if you're taking it 62 early and you're born after 1960, well, you're only going to get 70% of your benefit. So one example I used to give to folks is if I was to offer you 75 cents for the dollar in your pocket, would you do it? And of course you would not. And why? Because why would you devaluate the money you work so hard for there's nothing else in the exchange that brings you benefit, right? And so, but that's effectively what you're doing if you decide to file early. You worked your whole life, building and putting into the system only to receive 70% of what you gave out. And so if you take early at the age of 62, well, if you were 43 to 54, you're giving up 25% of your benefit. And if you're born after 1960, you're giving up 30% of your benefit. So again, probably something you should sit down with an advisor and talk about. I'll keep away from solicitation for the moment. Now, moving right along, when to begin your benefits. So big question. I mentioned something earlier. It says, well, if, looking down here at the 2640, we notice that the longer we wait, the more that we'll get. And if you've got longevity in your genes, well, you might consider just holding on, right? But there are other things that matter too. So one of them is, will you have other income sources? If you've got, first of all, you've got the strength and the income from work to keep on going, well, then you probably should, right? A lot of people that retire and give up on work find themselves very lonely and bored. Not everybody, but there are some, right? And then the other thing is some of the clients will have like passive income. They could have royalties or they could have rental properties, and they've got this passive income that's able to afford the cost of living. And so therefore they can push out or defer their Social Security benefits and allow it to grow. Now, there are other things as well. For instance, are you married? There are ways that married couples can work together and strategize to increase the lifetime value of their benefits. In other words, there's strategies we'll talk about in a moment that will increase how much your monthly benefit will be, but you got to do it together. More on that in a moment. So if you're married, that can matter too, as far as if you should wait or not. Another consideration is, will you keep working? I mentioned that a little bit ago, and so I'll keep moving here. And then lastly, do you expect to live a long life? I've already said that more than once now. And if you do, though, here's the question. How long will it take? Everybody wants to know this question. They want the answer, and they want it now. How long will it take to recoup the benefits you gave up for having waited, right? So if you take it 62, sure, you're going to get a discount, right? Or, well, you're going to receive 75%. So you're still collecting that 75% every month for the next 4 years. So when you turn 66, you would have kicked on your benefits then at the higher amount, but if you wait till 66, you gave up 4 years of income. Sure, it was at 75%, but that's 4 years. So moving right along, what we do to help people understand whether or not they should wait is by using the break-even analysis. In other words, how many years, right? How many years will it take in order for me to benefit for deferring or for having waited? There's two methods we use. The simple one is for our webinars because we're trying to make this stuff easy. It gets complex in-house, but you guys don't have to worry about that. So moving right along, let's just take a look at the facts. 62, delaying until 66. The break-even age is 77, and it's 81 with COLA, and we'll talk about COLA in a moment. What does that mean? That means it will take 11 years for the guy that waits till he's 66. It will take him 11 years for the difference between what he would have gotten taking earlier and what he's going to get. Let me give you an example from what you've already seen. Earlier, we talked about a $1,500 benefit if we took at 62 for someone that was 66. If they took early, they get $1,500 a month. $1,500 a month over a year is $18,000, and they're going to get that, well, they're going to get it for the rest of their life, but we're just worried about the 4 years, right? Because they're 62, their full retirement age is 66. So 18,000 times 4 is $72,000. $72,000 that they are giving up if they wait till 66. However, when they get to 66, their benefit goes up to $2,000 by $500. $500 more a month now. And that over 12 months is $6,000, right? And so 11 times 6,000 plus COLA, so 11 times 6,000 is 66. So they're within range, there's 6,000 within range, and most of that is going to be COLA because every year there's going to be an increase there as well. So it's 11 years is how long it will take you to break even. So again, that's why we go back to, if you're going to retire at 62, 11 years, well, again, that pushes you out till 77. If your family history really, if they're passing away kind of in their late 60s, early 70s, then we might consider taking now. Let's keep moving. Delay to age 70. And so you can go all the way and get that 132%, 32% on top of your primary insurance amount if born between 43 and 54, right? And the break-even age is 80, so we lose a year there. We shed a year because that monthly benefit is so much higher. It doesn't take as long to break even. It's 84 with COLA, and then lastly, if we work until 66, then we delay until 70. Our break-even age is 81 and 86 with COLA. Now, let's keep moving. What is COLA? COLA is the cost of living adjustment, and it is based on something called the CPIW. Think of COLA as a raise. So when you're in the workforce, you are receiving a raise from your employer to keep up with the rising cost of goods and services. Every year things are growing in price, and more so now than ever, which you really need to be attuned to because they are moving fast. I think I saw gasoline over $5 for the first time that I can remember ever. And so we're going to start seeing that across all of the items that, goods and services that we purchase. So anyways, the Social Security Administration offers a very similar thing, but they call it COLA instead of a raise. And it's based on the CPIW, which is the Consumer Price Index. The easiest way to think about this is if you were to walk into a grocery store and fill up a cart full of goods and then check out and do the same thing a year later, what do you think would happen? Well, there's going to be a change in price. It's going to cost more, right? Goods and services have always increased over time. It's just what happens. And so that difference in price is converted into a percentage and multiplied by your benefit. So your benefit is increased by that amount, in other words. Multiplied by your benefit and added to your benefit. So it's increased by that amount. And so that's how you keep up with the rising cost of goods and services so that your income isn't eroded during retirement. Now, moving right along, cost of living, your annual COLA is announced in October of every year. So all the retirees get joyful. We should throw a party. That's what we need to do. We need to throw a COLA party. Well, a Halloween COLA party. This is a great idea. But it's announced in October of every year. So when you see the pumpkin heads popping up, know that your raise is on the way. But do be mindful that it doesn't take effect until January of the following year. So you don't get to spend a little bit more every month in November. You get to spend a little bit more come January of the following year. Now, COLA in 2021 was 1.3%. Now, obviously, we're expecting that to be much higher going forward here in the next few years as we've printed more money than trillions, right? But that needs to be off. That's just the natural occurrence when you print too much money is that the supply-demand chain gets a little funky and prices tend to go up. There's just too much money in circulation. So moving right along, we're looking at a table here of COLA over time, and we can see back in the 70s, mid-70s, up and through the really late 70s, early 80s, we see some pretty high COLA adjustments, right? We're seeing, gosh, as high as 14.3%, and we remember those days too. And going on through the 80s, things cooled off, and all the way down until really where we're at today. You know, you see a couple of higher years in there, but mostly floating around that 2.5%, 3%. And if we look at 45-year average, it's about 3.66%. So when your advisor or friends and you guys are talking and someone says, inflation's been 3%, well, that's good because COLA has been 3.66. So you're 0.66% ahead of inflation. This is a good thing. The last 10 years, it's been 1.93%. So just below 2. And again, I expect that that's going to increase most likely dramatically here over the next few years. Spousal benefits. So let's move on from the basics and into spousal benefits. Now, spousal benefits, first of all, are based on one of two things. Your own earning history, right? You have an earning record. You've either made payments in or you haven't, and if you have an earning history. So all of the years of your wages and how much you will have paid into the administration based on those wages. And the other side of things is you can collect a benefit even if you don't have an earning history, or if the earning history of your spouse is greater than yours. So if you have a spouse with an earning history and you don't have an earning history of your own, ding, you are eligible for a Social Security benefit. And also, if you do have an earning record, but their benefit's going to be higher than yours, there's something called spousal benefit you can take advantage of, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Let's move on. So down there at the bottom, a key point. An eligible spouse may receive the larger of two benefits. So that's exactly that situation. You can either take yours but if your spouse's is going to be higher. If the spousal benefit based on your spouse's earning record is higher, you can take theirs. Now let's take a look at who's eligible. You must have been married. There's a little more that meets the eye here. You must have been married for at least 1 full year immediately before application. Perfect time to go get married, right? You must be at least 62, and worker spouse must have filed an application for benefits. So if you want to get a spousal benefit, if you want to get, if maybe you didn't have much of an earning history or yours is not really enough to get a nice big benefit, you just got to make sure that your spouse has worked or has filed their application with the administration. Now, there are 2 ways to see this, and it's dependent upon age and how old you are when you decide to take your spousal benefit will determine how much you get. So if you take early at 62, you're only going to receive 32.5%. By the way, last year and before that was 35%. So we see another small adjustment here by the Social Security Administration looking to keep the system thriving. 32.5%. So if they're going to get a $2,000 benefit and they filed and they're getting it, well, you can take 32.5% of that. Not bad. Now, on the other hand, if it's full retirement, if you're at your full retirement age, this is your age. If you're at your full retirement age, say 66, and they've already filed for theirs, you can now receive 50% of theirs. Okay, so that can be very beneficial. Let's take a look at an example. On the left side, if you're 62 and they filed for their benefits and they're taking $2,000 a month, you're going to get $650 at that 32.5%. On the other hand, if you wait until your full retirement age, you, the one that's going to be filing the spousal benefit, not the worker, you're going to get half, $1,000. So not bad for someone that may have been a homemaker, but should be entitled to a benefit because they were working at home, right? Taking care of the family. And so moving right along. All right, so there are other considerations. First of all, upon the first death of a married couple, the surviving spouse retains the larger of the 2 benefits. And so keep that in mind when you're retirement planning. This is actually something we run into all the time. We're sitting there putting a plan together and we do run scenarios. What if there is a premature death? What if the husband goes and he's got the big benefit and you've got the spousal benefit? It's not as much, right? Could be the other way around too. Could be the wife with the higher benefit and the husband with the lower benefit. Regardless, the person with the higher benefit, if they pass away, you're going to lose your spousal benefit. It's always the higher of the two. But if they're collecting in that example, if you waited to your full retirement age, they're collecting $2,000, you're collecting $1,000, you've got $3,000 a month coming into the household. If that person generating $2,000 a month goes away, passes away, you're only left with $2,000. You lose $1,000 of income. 30% of your income is gone, vanished. So it's important because a lot of people think, oh, well, if my significant other or my wife or my husband passes away, no big deal. The expenses will come down by half because they're gone. They make up for 50% of the relationship. Now our expenses are cut down by half. Not the case. Most of the time, your expenses will only decrease by 15% in the absence of a spouse, but your income, right, will reduce by 50%. Another reason to hire a retirement planner, such as SunPath Financial. Moving right along, spousal benefits. Divorced spouses, they can receive benefits too. What are the contingencies? You must be at least 62 and currently unmarried. You must have at least 10 years divorced for at least, you must have been married for at least 10 years and divorced for at least 2, and then not eligible for equal or higher benefits based upon your own earning record, which why would you file for spousal benefits as a divorcee provided you have a higher benefit? You would go with the higher benefit, right? If it was based on yours. And so those are the qualifications. Now, keep in mind that ex-spouse does not have to claim benefits in order to file for spousal benefits, whereas earlier we saw if you are a married couple and you didn't have an earning record and you're going to file spousal, say at 62, you get that 32.5%, right? Well, you have to wait. That person, that worker that they're basing your benefit on has to have filed, right? But in this case, they didn't have to. You could go out and claim it regardless of that. Okay, so moving right along. One of the benefits of being divorced, I'm not advocating for divorce. I think it's terrible, but people need to know, right? So restricted application. There is a strategy for married couples, and this technique is used to increase how much benefit you will get monthly, okay, and over your lifetime. And we're going to take a look at how this thing works. So first of all, it is used when both spouses have attained their normal retirement age. It used to be available before your full retirement age, but now you both have to be at least 66, right? Because that's the earliest anyone can receive their full retirement benefit, right? Their primary insurance amount is 66 now, 43 to 54. And the next piece here is if income is needed or desired. Hey, income is always needed and desired. I don't know what they're talking about. The goal is to continue to grow the lesser benefit to age 70. So again, you want the smaller benefit. That's the idea of the strategy here. We want the smaller benefit to grow, to become larger so that we get more over time. And both spouses have attained their normal retirement age. It says it twice there. We're making sure that you know you must be the minimum age 66, born 43 to 54. And if after 1960, I'll just skip past all of the increments, it's going to be 67. So at least your full retirement age. Now here it is. Spouse with the larger benefit claims their full benefit. So that $2,000 a month, that person would go out there and they would file. And they're their full retirement age and they're now receiving $2,000 a month. So there it is. Normal benefits provide income. Spouse with lower benefits, they will file but restrict their application and then participate in spousal benefits only. So they'll do the spousal benefit we talked about earlier and get that 50%. Their benefit will sit in the background and grow. Okay, so let's go ahead and see that with real numbers. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Mona, she's age 66, her full retirement age. She files for benefits and she's going to get $2,000 a month, our same example, right? Now, however, Rob is 66 as well, but Rob's own benefit is $1,500 a month and he wants it to grow. He would like more down the road. So what does he do? He instead files for spousal benefit. He's 66, she's 66, she already filed, she's got $2,000 a month. He's going to get 50% of that, like we said earlier. So he gets $1,000 a month. He'll take that instead of his $1,500. However, here's where the magic comes in. By doing that, his benefit grows to $1,980 a month. He'll receive an additional $480 a month, $1,000 in the meantime, and almost $2,000 right there by the time he gets to his to age 70. So $1,000 in the meantime, he'll give up the $500, but he'll end up with $2,000 a month at the age of 70 and forward. And now the household income from Social Security alone is $4,000 a month. This is healthy. Now, moving right along, will this work for you? So first of all, it depends upon your total retirement income picture, your ages, and your benefit amounts. This is again where I like to sprinkle or litter on to those watching your need for a retirement specialist. Not somebody that helps in accumulation like the guy that's been helping you for years. These individuals are very good at helping build your assets. What we're good at is helping make sure those assets will last a lifetime, the rest of your life, because now you are going to be dependent on those assets, and we got to make sure we're doing the right things. Okay, let's keep moving. The work penalty. Some of you may decide, and sometimes we even recommend, you continue to work while collecting your benefits. But what is the cost of doing that? Social Security Administration, they don't like that. They don't want you earning too much monthly. For whatever reason, no one knows. But anyhow, there is a penalty if you work. There may be a penalty, I should say, if you work and collect your benefits. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. First of all, it's for those who elect to begin their benefits early. After your full retirement age, there is no benefit penalty. Okay, so we say that right here. After attaining your normal retirement age, no penalty. So you can work as much as you want after your normal retirement age is hit, whether you took early or later. Continue to earn income while receiving early retirement benefits. So obviously that's a part of this, right? You got to continue earning a benefit and, earning your wages while taking your benefits. Now, working generally means earned income. So pensions, investments, annuity income generally do not count towards the earning test. So when we're talking about earned income, it's something that you physically go out and do work for and are compensated for that work. But some of these other pieces mentioned, right, pension, investment, annuity income, these things are you already worked for and are now converted into a stream of income that just comes in. Whether you go to work or not, a pension is going to give you your monthly benefit because that's what a pension does. Now, moving right along, self-employment, commissions, fees, and even some cases, passive income from privately held small business may count toward your earned income, right? Or towards your the income that they use to factor this next equation here. You'll see just a moment. Let me get there first. I'm getting ahead of myself. Work penalty only applies for earned income prior to reaching your normal retirement age. I've already said that once, but let that sink in. A lot of people are confused when it comes to the work penalty. There is no penalty after your normal retirement age. Okay, so now the one piece of the equation I was trying to get to earlier is called the exempt amount. And it's the maximum that you can earn without a benefit penalty. So if you earn under the max amount or the exempt amount, then you don't have to worry about a penalty. You can work as much as you want and take your benefit, no penalty. And that amount prior to turning your normal retirement age is $18,960. You make $18,959, no penalty. $18,960 and up, you're going to start seeing a penalty. And what is the penalty? Well, the penalty is $1 in benefits withheld for every $2 over the exempt amount. So going back to that, at $18,963, they're going to hold back $1, right? So that's how it would work. And now moving right along, in the year that you reach your normal retirement age, it's $50,520. And then after, so everything leading up to your date of birth, your normal retirement age, that date of birth, everything before that will be put up against this this number here, $50,520. And then after your date of birth, there is no penalty. And the penalty actually goes down. It's earlier I was trying to, on the left-hand side, it's a 50% penalty. On the right-hand side, once you are in the year of your normal retirement age, it is about a 30% penalty, 33%. It's $1 for every $3. So let me give you guys an example using some numbers. Here's Mary. She begins taking benefits at 62 in 2020. She has an annual benefit of $20,000. Her total earned income is $40,000. So she earned $20 from the Social Security Administration, but she also earned $20 from her employer. She got a $40,000 annual income, right? It says $40,000 earnings there, minus the exempt amount because she's not 66 yet. She's before her full retirement age. So it's the smaller exempt amount, which is bad. $18,960, that is her exempt amount. If we subtract those two, she is over the exempt amount by $21,040. So what is the penalty? Well, it's $1 for every $2 over, so it's 50%. So it's $21,040 multiplied by 50%. There's a $10,520 penalty she will have to face. Okay, so what she should have received in reality is about $10,000, about half. And the problem with this is the Social Security Administration, like most government-run agencies, no offense to anybody out there working for one, are a little behind. And you got to imagine they are, right? I mean, the population it's just enormous here in the States. But the systems are behind. And so it's not as though they're going to request for you to make payments on the $10,000 you received you shouldn't have. What they're going to do is put a full stop to your benefits until they recapture that $10,000. So you could go off in a 2021, they caught the work penalty, and they now say, hey, you owe us $10,000 back. Boom, for 6 months, you're not going to receive your benefit, right? Because you would have gotten 20. It's going to take several months to catch, you would have, 20 over the year, but it's going to take half the year to give that 10 grand back. So you're going to be out 6 months of income from the administration. So be mindful of that. Again, that's why you need a retirement planner. $10,520 penalty will be withheld in 2021 benefits. So there it is. That can be scary. It's happened to folks and clients of ours, and there's nothing we can do. They didn't do the right planning, and they found themselves in a real bind. So how do we determine your benefits? If you want to know how much you're going to receive and more accurate estimation, first of all, they send statements. They don't anymore, but you can get a hold of that statement online. With the retirement estimator tool, this is a great way for you to know what your current benefit is. Let's take a look at what that looks, how that looks online. So first of all, if you're not using the sophisticated tools that allow you to make projections, you can just look at what they present you with there online, which is the 3 major ages: early at 62, full retirement age there at the top, 67 for this person, but 66 for many of you on the verge of retirement or in retirement, and then age 70 at the latest. So they give you those 3 amounts there on the screen. Now, again, cool thing about the tool is this online estimator is that you can plug in different ages and you can plug in different income. And so, the higher your income, they're doing this, the formula is complicated, but they're taking like your highest 35 earned years. So if you predict that you're going to earn more this next few years, you can plug that into the calculator and you can get estimations on what your future Social Security benefit would look like. So moving right along, also it's based, if you use that calculator, it's based on your actual earning record. And so it knows everything you've made and paid FICA tax on for the last umpteen years. If you need help, reach out to us. We do have a manual that we put together, and you can use that manual. There's a full step-by-step guide to help you get on and register, create an account, log in there, and even use the estimation tool. So anyways, reach out to us. We'll have an email at the end of the webinar for you guys. Now, a couple other things before we start to conclude, you want to keep in mind is the windfall elimination provisions, and it's your Social Security benefit. So it's when your Social Security benefit may be reduced if you earn a pension outside of the Social Security system. And generally, it affects governmental employees, state or local municipality. Having a tough one with that today, or federal job workers. And so, really, they don't want you dipping into federal systems. And so, there can be something called windfall elimination provision, where they reduce some of the benefit you will have received from your Social Security benefit because you're receiving too much from both systems in their eyes. Too much to them is not enough for us, really. But that's just the way it works. So when we're planning, it's something that we do look at. We're making sure that when we're asking questions, if you are a government employee, that we're working that out for you so that you know what you'll be left with monthly, really. So it's also income that did not withhold Social Security taxes, and that's a big issue. So what ends up happening a lot of times, they don't like when folks go out and work 10 years paying into the system and then stop and then go spend the next 30 years working for a federal agency where they won't have to pay FICA taxes, right? And so they feel as though maybe that's working the system a bit. But if they feel like that's working the system a bit, maybe they should make the 10 years longer. I don't know. Anyhow, that's kind of the way it is. They don't want you dipping into both systems, really. And if you are, they want to eliminate how much you're receiving. So moving right along, the same thing can be said for a government pension offset. And this one can sting. You really have to make sure that if you're a surviving spouse of somebody that was receiving a government pension, that 2/3, there's this thing called the 2/3 rule, where if the benefit that you are going to inherit, that pension, if 66% of it, if you take 66% of it, and that's greater than the Social Security benefit, then it's unlikely for you to receive a Social Security benefit. So again, these are just things you want to keep your eye out for, because one of the reasons why we bring tax planning into our retirement plans is because people have thought over the last 35, 40 years, they've worked with their net income. What do I bring in every month? And I apply that to my expenses because they're net, and then I know what I'm either left with. I know if I have a surplus or a deficit there, right? And I can make adjustments so that I'm not as affected the next month. But if you don't factor taxes when you're retirement planning, you don't know how much your monthly income is really, because it's going to be reduced significantly by taxes. Same thing is said for these two pieces here. If you are not aware and all of a sudden your benefits are cut way down, the ones that you were planning on, well, you could be facing some difficulty, a challenge, right? Like most likely having to work longer, which not a lot of people want to hear after working 35, 40 years. Trust me, I've had to tell them. Taxation, let's get into that. It's based upon your combined income. So what is combined income? Combined income is your adjusted gross income, which you can ask your preparer for, but it's basically your income minus the above the line deductions. And then it is plus or added to your non-taxable interest, municipal bonds, for instance, and then half, 50% of your benefit. That is your combined income. Now, your combined income depended upon whether you are your filing status, married, filing, joint. We see it here on the left-hand side, $32,000 to $44,000, up to 50% of your benefit will be taxable. Okay, doesn't mean that they're going to take it from you. It just means it's going to be added to your taxable income and then run through those brackets, right? The federal tax brackets. And then if it's $44,000 or more, it's up to 85%. So you want to be strategic about how much you're taking. Oftentimes, we're making recommendations for people just to pay off the debt they have, so that they're not having to pull down retirement, savings that's going to be or add to their total annual income, because hey, they're going to pay more tax, right? So moving right along to individuals, 25 to 34, up to 50%, and if they're making $34,000 per year, or if their combined income is $34,000 per year or more, up to 85% of their benefit. So that is taxation in a nutshell. We go pretty deep and comprehensive when it comes to taxes and planning here, just because we know it's important. But anyhow, today's presentation, going off into the weeds of it, will be a little too much. And so that is a rough idea of how taxation will work for your Social Security benefit. Now, you probably realized up until this point in the webinar that Social Security really is just one piece. I mentioned retirement planning and wealth building, and making sure that you're making the decisions around retirement that are going to benefit you for up until age 100. People say 100, you're crazy. I don't even want to live that long. You may not have a choice, right? I mean, with medical advancements where they're at and only getting better, it's likely for many of us, you in your 50s and 60s and 70s, just to keep on going, right? And so you'll realize, though, that planning is important, and Social Security is just one of the pieces to the plans that we put together every day for prospects and clients. And so what we do is at the end of each one of our webinars, we teach on 5 core topics of retirement, this being one of them. We offer a complimentary retirement plan to those who have joined us. And the plan, what it's built and designed to do, is help you understand where you are today against where you'd like to be in retirement. And then what we do is recreate these scenarios, these evil little scenarios, and really to try to make the plan fail. What if we have a bear market? We've been on a bull run for 12 years, for crying out loud, right? We had a hiccup there in 2020, but we pulled out of that and set an all-time high for the year, right? And so you could face bear markets. And if you're dependent upon your retirement assets while the markets are shuddering, you're losing in the market, you're taking withdrawals, those accounts can run out real fast. And so it's something you want to plan for. What if we have rapid inflation? We're already seeing it. Double taxation, we saw that from 1930 to 1980, 50-year span, taxes were double what they are now. What if my spouse predeceases me? What if I have a long-term care need or get in a situation I can no longer take care of myself? Most of the time the husband says, well, I'll just have my wife take care of me then. Yeah, but then after she is run out of energy, spending her 4 years taking care of you before you go, she's now out of assets, she's out of energy, who's going to take care of her? So, it's one of those things you want to be planning for. Retirement is a big, sophisticated puzzle, and been doing it for 15 years in finance. And, till this day, we come across new cases. But for the majority of folk, we've got a system that we've created here at SunPath that will help you create, the highest, we use something called Monte Carlo. So we will be able to tell you, based on all those scenarios I just mentioned and where you're at today, with everything you have, with a high level of confidence, whether or not you can pull the trigger, and if you do, what your likeness is of making it all the way to age 100. And you want to go beyond age 100, we'll do it for you. Anyhow, I had posted a link. We posted a link a little earlier in the chat box. And so if you'd like to take advantage of that complimentary retirement plan, you're more than welcome to click on that link, and we ask for like first name, last name, and a day and time that you'd like to speak with one of our advisors. And we will reach out to you. We'll take income, expenses, assets, and liabilities, and we'll plug that into a system. And about 2 weeks later, we'll get back to you with the results, and we will share how things are looking. And then we'll lightly provide some solutions, but that's kind of where we come into the picture, right? Those solutions is really based around the service that we offer our clients, and we want you to become a client at that time, is what we'll be asking for. But regardless of that, we'll be able to poke holes in your plan. And many of you don't even have a plan. So we'll be able to put one together for you loosely, and then again, start to kind of highlight areas of weakness and give light solutions to them and point you in the right direction. So click on the link, fill out your information, and we would love to have you. We would love to sit down with you and take a look at what you got going on. And no pressure. We make it easy for folks. We've had enough clients and learned enough in the industry over all these years that people will make up their minds without any pressure at all. And the more pressure you put on them, the further away they go. So anyways, click it if you're ready, and we'd love to talk with you. And thank you again for joining us. We will be hosting, we're going to move away from webinars here over the next couple months back into our seminar platform, provided that this new Delta strand doesn't get too out of hand, and try to get people back into a room where we can come together and enjoy ourselves in our time. And we'll be sending out email invitations for those seminars. So if you guys have joined webinars and you want to come out and see us in person, you're more than welcome. And so look out for those emails coming in over the next few weeks. And we do look forward to seeing you guys in a future event. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we will talk to you later.